Thank you for joining us in our YouTube live session. In this live session, of course, we'll be talking about mainly about Bitcoin, and this is another test stream test for you guys because I just wanted to see that how everything that the test structure goes, because the whole idea behind this one is to run this one on a daily basis to give you guys an opportunity to so that you guys can ask us questions, the questions that matters the most, the questions that so that you could really take the opportunity and ask me what is going on in the Bitcoin market, why Bitcoin is falling the way that it is falling, and what can be done about that one. So it is really an opportunity for you guys to ask me questions in relation to, okay, why really is, what is happening with gold? What is happening with silver? What is happening in the forex market? What is happening in the equity market? And more importantly, this will also kind of give you that surety that there are human behind it. So who has been running this particular channel, and thank you for your support that we have that 100,000 followers now. Obviously, we wanted to give back a lot to the community, and the whole idea behind this one is I want to level down the play field between a normal person, a person who does not have any knowledge in the financial field, and a person like myself who has come with a wealth of experience working with the larger banks, because I have worked as a hedge fund trader for Bank of New York Mellon, equity trading with Bank of America. I have taught as a guest lecturer at London School of Economics, and doing TV on a regular basis with the Bloomberg, Ashrak, with CNBC Arabia, CNBC Europe, and Bloomberg and Fox Business, and so on and so forth. So what I really want to do is I want to level out the playing field between a normal person, like maybe someone like you, and then other people who have a lot of knowledge, to make things so simple that you can understand what is happening. So in today's session, what we will be really kind of covering, what I want to cover was like really, okay, what is happening in relation to Bitcoin, because everyone is looking at Bitcoin and everyone is talking about it, and then they're saying that what is going on with this particular asset class, right? Because this asset, this Bitcoin, was supposed to go high. We have seen massive rally coming in gold price last year, only till now that we've seen that kind of a rally fading. But before that, everything was very much moving to the upside. Everything was like, okay, we are not going to see like this kind of a rally. We're never going to see in them. But with respect to Bitcoin, we never saw that rally. We never see anything in relation to Bitcoin. So please do ask questions if you are here, because I am, after all, here to answer your questions. And please do like and subscribe if you have not already subscribed to our channel. So again, for those of you who are joining right now, this particular stream is about what is happening with Bitcoin. There is a video on our YouTube channel which you can go and then you can look at that video. In the video, we talked about, I think this was done in November or December time, and then I talked about that Bitcoin prices are likely to touch the level of 74 to 73, which is where we are now. Now, why I felt like that at the time, why I felt that Bitcoin was falling, because there were a number of reasons which I will go into a lot more detail. But if you look at right now where we are with respect to Bitcoin, we have seen in the last 24 hours or so nearly $280 million worth of sell-off in Bitcoin market. And one of the biggest holders of Bitcoin, i.e. MicroStrategy, is certainly now is officially at a loss on its Bitcoin holding, because remember, MicroStrategy is a company which is run by Michael Saylor, and he's the biggest advocate with respect to Bitcoin. And then he says that yes, the prices are going to continue to rise, and then he is buying Bitcoin, and then with any increase in the Bitcoin price from his purchase price is actually the shareholders' dividend, the shareholders' earnings that he distributes. Now, given the fact that he owns Bitcoin, so it's a MicroStrategy. He's the man behind it. And then now Bitcoin is trading below his holding price, his average cost price, is going to create a lot of discomfort among investors. So let's go back to my earlier conversation, which was like, why did I feel in November, December that Bitcoin prices will go down, or I felt that it would go down? The reason for that was that I saw this, and then something that we're really going to cover in this one. I saw this one coming, that I saw bigger institutions like BlackRock really putting Bitcoin for sale well ahead of anyone, right? I was seeing on-chain wallets, Bitcoin prices, the amount of Bitcoin that they were offloading, they were selling it. And that kind of rang the first bell for me in relation to what is happening in the Bitcoin market and why it is, or what could happen. And then I started to think that why BlackRock is really all of a sudden selling, or because it should be buying, because President Trump is in the office, and then we have so much positivity with him being in the office. So we should be actually looking at, and we should be actually buying that one, right? Because that's what what it should be. But that is not what happened. What happened was like BlackRock was selling it. The second thing that really made me nervous about Bitcoin was that anything that Trump was saying back in 2025, in December time and in November time, including the White House, it kind of stopped having a positive impact on the Bitcoin price. Because before, Trump used to tweet and Bitcoin price used to skyrocket and used to go up. So that happened. And then that made me think that is the effect and the impact of president talking about Bitcoin has faded. Meaning that back then we used to think that, okay, Trump is going to bring a huge amount of positive rise in the Bitcoin price. Is something which has faded, right? Because that's what pretty much made me think in relation to that. So because of these two reasons, I was really monitoring the tweets, and they were really trying hard, both presidents' own social media accounts and White House, trying to assure investors. But I could not see Bitcoin prices, moving towards a new all-time high, or breaking the level of 115,000 to 120,000, or even breaking the level of 110,000 and staying above that one. And then consistently challenging and coming back towards that 100,000 price level made me think that, okay, you know what? The weakness is coming. We already touched, below 100,000. So this price action is going to be looking weak, and then it's going to go lower. So that was my concern back then. And then now, as of today, in the market, this has happened. Bitcoin price has touched that 73,000 mark, and it actually challenged to go below. So now, what is my strategy? What am I looking at, and what you guys could be looking at? Number one thing that I am looking at, again, is exactly like what I was looking back then. And that was what is happening in the market in terms of the headline. So we are going to look, and then I picked up some of the positive ones and some of the negative ones. And we're going to talk you through those particular ones. Now, first, I'm going to touch some negative ones to give you some perspective, because I want to always read about those ones. Now, the first one is, of course, the ETFs, like how much outflow, the money has come out of these ETFs in the last 3 months or so. And we compare that to the previous months as well. So for the last 3 months, we have seen money coming out. And in October was one of the biggest months when we saw really big money coming out. I wouldn't go into the numbers. Then November was the month, and then came the December. December was again month when we saw money coming out of those ETFs, meaning people pulling out when they were looking at it. So this was kind of a smart money. Let's call that as a smart money. And then in January, we saw the momentum going higher than in December in terms of money coming out. Now, of course, on the back of that, the people who were selling it, they were your, insiders. Of course, it was BlackRock, because as of yesterday, 88 billion, I really mean billion, $88,690,000 worth of a Bitcoin, they were sold by BlackRock's ETF, right? So again, that money is coming. So what I am trying to say is that the selling pressure that we have experienced in January, now going into February, it still seems to be very much intensified, that kind of thing. Now, what I want to see from that perspective is that I want to see that selling pressure at least coming down a little bit, some sort of a slowdown in that selling pressure. And then if that selling pressure kind of slows down, then we could say that yes, Bitcoin prices, crypto prices will move to the upside. But that is something that is yet to be seen. That is something that we will perhaps see yet. But of course, there are some important things that I will discover, and then I will read them out to you guys in a bit. But now, given the fact that that was the news, the other negative news that also came was from Ethereum's founder Vitalik, who sold 830 million worth of Ethereum. That this news came out yesterday that he is selling Ethereum. He is still kind of liquidating his position. This was again not really a great thing in relation to what happened for Ethereum, because you don't want to see Ethereum being sold by its founder. Now, that was the thing in relation to Ethereum. Now, let's talk about if the current levels where Ethereum is trading at, is this a buy opportunity? Is this an opportunity for you to come and then look at it? Now, there is one important chart, which we have it on my Twitter. And then you guys can go and look at it. That compares and then very soon we're going to share these charts with yourselves over here in the live stream for sure. Is about RSI, which is an indicator that shows how oversold things are. In terms of technicals, I'm not going to go too much of technicals because I know that my viewers, the people, I wanted to make it very, very simple. So RSI is just think of something which is it's not a perfect indicator by any means. Nothing is perfect in terms of a technical analysis. And this comes from a man who has done the highest qualification in terms of technical analysis. And the highest qualification is called Chartered Market Technician, for which for each exam you have to pass 7 books, and then you have, few exams to pass in relation to that. So I've done that one. So me saying it to you that RSI is not the perfect indicator for you to make a decision, but it is sort of an, like I said, indicator, so it could give you some clues. So if you look at the RSI, it shows that previous times, every time how much the RSI is sold right now, currently, it's been sold previously, we have seen the bounce back. So this brings me to the first positive news in terms of cryptos, in terms of Ethereum, which tells me that perhaps now we are near oversold territory. Because one of the things that we do want to see in terms of cryptos for bounce back is oversold, is that particular phenomena, that particular fear, that particular greed coming among people, that things are way oversold, we should come and we should buy. That is the thing that we should see. So that has the first signal in that one, not a clear signal, not a permanent sign, that has come. Okay, so with that one, I am a little bit positive. Now, going back to Bitcoin, one of the things that everyone says that the Bitcoin rises, to all-time highs after every 4 years. Now, we are well away from the 4 years period because this is 2026. The 4 years going to happen in 2029. So if that happens, and in the next cycle, the price is going to be 250,000. But many people argue, many investors argue, many smart money players argue that the 4-year cycle is no longer valid for Bitcoin. Otherwise, this is going to be a painful journey for everyone who's involved in this one, because that means the price will continue to consolidate where it currently is. Now, the bullish sign, there are a few bullish signs that have started to emerge in the crypto market. And again, I'm going to explain it to you guys in a very simple, plain English. Okay. And I hope that you guys now on YouTube, you could do the translation in the language, because I certainly do not speak Arabic. This is an Arabic channel. Everything that we have done is been used AI dubbing my voice in Arabic. So we have applied to convert this one into real-time Arabic. So hopefully that will happen very, very soon as well. So you guys will be able to understand it, what is happening. Otherwise, we will bring some other things at the same time to help you understand that one. So let's go back. So the other positive thing in terms of a Bitcoin really is coming from UBS. What is UBS? UBS is a very, very big Swiss bank which has a lot of money. Now, literally how much money? Nearly 7 trillion US dollars of worth of money. That is what we are talking about. And it announced today that it is considering to give access to its clients, including the retail clients, okay, and the individuals. And the individuals over there with the UBS, they are high net worth individuals, because the ticket size to open an account with the UBS is very, very high. That it is considering to give them access to buy Bitcoin. So what do you think is going to happen when a $7 trillion worth of bank with its individual accounts holder will give access to Bitcoin, and when Bitcoin is trading at a level under which, it is considered as oversold? Another theory and another chart on my Twitter account is where it shows you how Bitcoin has fallen below the level, a level which, or the buy price at which most of the Bitcoin ETF holders have bought in the United States. So their level of buy price and the current level where Bitcoin is trading, it is trading below that level. So it is, if a Swiss bank is going to allow its high net worth individuals, like people with a lot of money, to give direct access to buy them, make the whole thing very easy for them to buy Bitcoin. And then they will see that the now Bitcoin price is actually much lower than the average price that most of the Bitcoin ETFs, which is basically pooling of huge amount of money in one basket and then buying Bitcoin with that one, in a very simple and easy explanation. What do you think is going to happen? Of course, that is very, very positive in relation to that one. So then the other positive news that I've seen is, of course, you guys know Binance. And you know that we are partnering up with Binance. A lot of videos and over here, the efforts would be, they would be sponsored by Binance. In relation to that, we will make a big news about Binance as well. So Binance has a one fund which we called SAFU, SAFU fund, okay? And that fund, they've created that with multiple purposes. In very simple English, it is just a money at Binance with which they buy assets which they think are very highly valuable. And then they buy them at a price when they think that things are extremely, extremely cheap. And sometimes they are just pushed to buy because they have to navigate, they have to buy things. So currently, Binance CEO, he's announced that SAFU, which is a fund, an institutional arm, meaning which has a lot of money from Binance, it belongs to Binance, have announced that it has bought 100 million, listen to that number again, 100 million worth of Bitcoin in his fund. And it is buying it again at a price which is lower than the average buy price for most of the ETFs. Again, the basket, which in American basket of ETFs, where a huge amount of money is gathered to buy Bitcoin so that they can offer to their clients. So they have also come out and then they bought it. Now, of course, earlier we talked about something which was about let's actually continue on the topic of positivity of Bitcoin. Another good news that we have seen is that Bitcoin's long-time hodlers, because they are called anyone who holds Bitcoin for a long time and then they believe that it is only going to go up, is called hodler. So hodlers, what they are doing is, like, in the last few weeks or so and months, we've seen them selling Bitcoin, okay? Some of those shaky hands or weak hands, shall we say them. But now what we have seen is, another good news is that those holders, those people with the mentality and who think that Bitcoin prices are going to go up, have actually come back into the market and started to buy Bitcoin. Again, that is another sign which shows that there is a lot of positivity in the market. Now, we're coming towards the end of this one. I don't want it to continue, but I just wanted to go through some important headlines. And then lastly, the thing that I quite like about Bitcoin is, of course, it is the greed and fear index. I like to see prices buying something when everyone is fearful and then there's no greed. Everyone thinks that the prices are only going to go down, they're not going to go up. And that index is hitting a level of 17, like 0 and 17. Could you imagine like how negative people are, how fearful people are in relation to Bitcoin? And every time that happens, that itself is, again, a very, very positive sort of a signal. Now, last but least, in terms of, again, going back to BlackRock, remember we talked about a number earlier about a BlackRock, where we said that the BlackRock sold so many Bitcoin, which was nearly 88.6 billion, and which was the news as of yesterday. But today the news has slightly flipped in a favor. And that favor is that BlackRock has actually bought Bitcoin. It's not a huge amount. It is only 60 billion, okay, 60 billion, which is a number which is a lot still lower than 88.6 billion, right? So, but still, I mean, like, that is a significant buy from BlackRock, because 66 billion they are buying, and then 3 days ago they sold 88.6 billion. So now the momentum has started to shift. This is very important for you guys who are watching. And again, guys, please feel free to ask me questions, because this is really your opportunity to ask me questions in this live stream, okay? And ask me as many questions as you want, really, in this live stream. So overall, I am becoming a lot more positive in relation to this one, because now the momentum has started to shift. So again, BlackRock has come back. It has started to buy, which is a positive news. Fear index, or fear and greed index, is hitting at its time low. And then hodlers, which have the mentality that Bitcoin are going to go up, they have started to come back. They bought it. Binance CEO, CZ, I mean, like the fund that he owns, which is Seifu, that has bought Bitcoin, 100 million worth of Bitcoin. Then you have UBS coming into the market and then saying that it is going to allow. So all of this one is very much positive news on the upfront. So with that, I'm going to leave you guys on a positive note. So I think at current levels, Bitcoin does represent a good opportunity. It does represent that the prices are oversold, but that is by no means we can say that the prices are done in terms of a selling. They can still continue to move lower, and the more lower they go, the better the fundamentals become in terms of oversold things, meaning these buy orders, the one that we kind of want to see, will only intensify, and that is what we want to see. So give it a thumbs up if you like what we talked about, and subscribe to our channel, and you will see many of the live feeds scheduled over here. Feel free to come back and start watching them.